Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. We got some more stories to check out today, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's get right into today's Reddit posts. Entitled Mom thinks adults only doesn't apply to her kid at resort pool. Removed by staff. My husband and I are currently vacationing at a 5-star hotel. There are 2 separate pools, one for kids and families and the Serenity and Quiet one for adults. 21 plus is enforced. Both pools are very clearly marked as such, by large signs placed around the perimeters of each. We have been here for a few days, and it has been literal paradise. We have not run into many families or kids, and those that we did see were exceptionally well behaved, and attended to by their parents. Until today. We went to the adult pool and got set up on 2 chairs. The pool was in front of us and the hot tub was behind us. It was a tad chilly, so we ventured over to the hot tub, where we saw a kid, about 7, playing with a crap ton of Star Wars toys on the steps. Call me a Karen, I don't care, but this set me off. We came to this resort specifically because of the 2 very separate pools with enforced rules. I want to relax. I don't feel like hearing screaming kids on vacation. I went over to the attendance stand and asked if the hot tub was for families, and if so, was there an adults-only hot tub that we might be directed to? I knew the answer. I just didn't want to come across as too aggressive. I was told that the hot tub was indeed for adults only. So I proceeded to tell both pool attendants that there was a child in the hot tub, and I didn't know if his parent was nearby. You guys, both pool attendants were basically like, hell no, and walked very fast over to the hot tub and told the woman, who was apparently the mother of the child, that it was adults only, and they had to leave. The kid was told to get out. Crying and screaming ensued, and he and the mom then just sat on the chairs. But wait, there's more. After about 5 to 10 minutes, they were still sitting on the chairs in the adult area. And again, the attendant came over and informed them that the area was adults only, and they're not even allowed to sit there, even if they're not actively using the hot tub. Entitled mother was pissed, angrily packed up their stuff, and both were ushered out of the adults area. I suspect they were there because the kids' pool area was super busy, and entitled mom didn't want to deal with other kids, and/or couldn't score a chair. We tipped the attendants generously on our way out, and are already planning our next vacation here. I wish more businesses would realize that not everyone wants to commingle with families and kids. Edit to add. The best part is that this particular hotel has kids programming all day, a kids club, and the kids/family pool is actually much bigger and nicer than the adults pool. It also has kids water attractions like ones you would see at a splash pad. A huge bucket that spills water, water guns, fountains, bubblers, etc. Why would you not be there? Oh, I know. Because the mother is an entitled selfish a-hole who didn't care about her kids' enjoyment, or that of the adults around her. Edit to add too. It happened again today. We were at the adult pool again this morning, and a mother pushing a stroller with another kid in tow tried to sneak in the side entrance of the adult pool area. Not so fast. The same attendant from above stopped them and escorted them out so fast their heads must have been spinning. The kids' pool is absolute madness right now with it being Mother's Day, and there aren't many chairs left. So I'm guessing she thought the rules don't apply to her. This amazing attendant will be getting another generous tip today. I bet the attendant probably has to deal with this on a regular basis. I'm sure he's no stranger to escorting families out of there. And I personally don't really think OP's being a Karen for telling on her too. There is a reason there's 2 separate areas, and if I was paying that kind of money to stay at a 5-star hotel, I would also hope that they would enforce those rules. Refuse to pay for boiler repair during winter? Okay then. This was about 10 years ago. Still makes me feel good whenever I think about it. I used to rent a house. The landlord lived abroad, so his brother, a nice guy, looked after maintenance, and the landlord's lawyer, a douchebag, looked after the contract and legal stuff. I had the brother's phone number as he was my point of contact if anything needed fixing. One winter, my boiler broke. This is in Northern Europe, so this is considered to be an emergency repair. I called the brother multiple times, but it always went straight to voicemail. It didn't even ring. I left a bunch of texts and spent the first night shivering under all the bedding in the house, as temperatures outside approached freezing. The next morning I left more voicemails and texts, but by the afternoon, still no response. By this point, the temperature inside the house was around 7 degrees Celsius, or 44 Fahrenheit. I decided to take matters into my own hands and ring around for an engineer to fix it. They came that evening, diagnosed the problem, a worn-out motor, removed the broken part, installed the new part, and billed me for parts and labor. I texted the brother to let him know what I had done. A few days later, the brother finally responded and apologized for being out of touch. He had been on holiday. I said no major harm done, but I need reimbursement for the repair. He told me to call the lawyer and gave me his number. I called the lawyer and explained everything. He was like a brick wall, totally unreasonable, unsympathetic to the situation, and accusatory to me, saying that I had broken the terms of the tenancy agreement. I said that they had also violated the agreement by not responding to an emergency repair in a reasonable amount of time. Under the circumstances, I felt I had no choice, and hope we can come to some sort of arrangement. He said no. I asked whether we could split the bill. I pay for the labor and they pay for the part, which will remain in the boiler and their property indefinitely. He said no, and at that point said I should put this all down as a lesson learned and move on, and hung up on me. I was not very happy, to say the least. The bill was pretty significant, and I had effectively repaired their boiler for them free of charge. Not to mention the inconvenience and discomfort of being without heating in winter. I was looking at the engineer's bill wondering what I could do, then realized the bill has my name, my phone number, my signature on it, and the part and its cost clearly listed. I waited 8 months until the tenancy agreement expired, then moved out. I was planning to anyway. I called the same engineer and asked him to remove the motor from the boiler. He questioned why, but I talked around it, paid him cash, and all was good. It obviously cost me more money, but ended up being totally worth it. When I moved out the next day, I made sure everything was spotless, and left the property like a perfect tenant. The brother came to inspect the property. He had a cursory look around to check nothing was obviously damaged, then bid me goodbye, and I gave him the keys. Thankfully, he didn't check whether the boiler was working. Why would he? He knows I would have informed him immediately had it broken again. Either way, the security deposit landed back in my account a few days later. A couple of months went by, and then I got a text from the brother asking if the boiler had been working okay when I left. I said, yeah, why? No response. Next day, I got a phone call from the lawyer. He was furious. Did you remove the motor from the boiler? He asked. Yes, why? I said. He rants about damage to the landlord's property, etc. Sorry, bit busy right now. Please put all of this in writing to my email, I said, and I hang up. Later that day, I got a very long, ranty email threatening legal action. He obviously took some time to put it together, but honestly, it reeked of intimidation tactics. I waited a day or so just to be annoying, then replied, "Dear lawyer, thank you for your email. Please find attached a document that proves that the boiler motor in question is my own personal property. I recommend you put this all down as a lesson learned and move on. Sincerely, OP." I attached the engineer's original bill and clicked send. Never heard back. To this day, I'm not 100% sure I was legally in the clear, but it was definitely worth the risk, knowing they had to pay for it in the end. People keep asking why I didn't withhold rent until the cost of the repair was covered. Answer: that's not legal in my country. My neighbor built a shed right on my property line. My wife got a new refrigerator. The neighbor's backyard behind me butts up against my backyard. I have a 6-foot fence and we both have trees on either side of it, so even in the winter there's a decent amount of screening between us. Imagine my surprise one day when my youngest daughter came in and said, "I suppose you know that the neighbors built a shed right up against the back fence, right?" I rushed out to check the back deck, and sure enough, there was a 10 by 15 ugly-ass shed, literally a foot off of my fence. I called him up and said, "Hey, what's up with the new shed?" And he said he would come over and talk to me about it. Once he came over, I said, "Man, that thing's right on my property line and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be 10 feet back." I asked him if he could move it back, so it wasn't so much in our face when we were sitting on our deck. He claimed because of the slope of his yard and a drainage ditch, that was the only place it could be. I was also worried that if we ever sold our house and it was surveyed, then it might become a big hassle. So my neighbor offered to buy a piece of my property to make it right, but only wanted to pay us $900. That's when my wife rolled on up from out of the house. She'd known the neighbor for a long time, and thought he was an asshole already to begin with. She immediately went for the throat. She told him that she needed a new refrigerator, and the model she wanted cost $2,200, so that was the price for the land. Or she could just call zone enforcement to make him move it, or start getting fined. Plus, she told him that he was paying for the surveying and filing the property line adjustment. So that's the story of how my neighbor bought my wife a brand new fancy refrigerator. So OP also says here in an update, "Thank you to all the trolls talking smack, at least I got your attention, right? People seem to be convinced that I sold the 96 square feet for much less than market value. There is a 0.47 acre building lot for sale around the corner from me. It's on a really steep slope in the back like mine, and has the same usable area as my 0.275 acre lot. Based on the sale price of that lot, the square footage I sold my neighbor would be about $528. I sold it to him for $2,200. And for a bit more detail on why OP's fence isn't right on the property line, and therefore making part of his yard on the opposite side of the fence, he says here in a comment after someone asked about it, "Because my fence doesn't have to follow the property lines. The back right corner of the property has a sudden steep slope. The fence was brought around to leave a little bit of flat ground on the outside, and then line up with the back right corner of the house. And apparently my wife was happy to put up with the shed view for a new $2,200 refrigerator." And many people in the comments are of the opinion that OP got screwed over. Like this person says, "My dude, I think you just got done hard. You just swapped your land, an asset that increases in value over time, for a fridge, an asset that decreases in value incredibly quickly. Your neighbor now gets to leave his shed in a spot that would have gone against the law, and has raised the value of his land both by increasing in its size and by having a brand new shed. If I knew I could just swap a chunk of my neighbor's land for a fridge, I would do it there and then. Hell, what else you need? Washer, dryer, TV? How much land you got to give?" And sure, yeah, OP's argument is that he sold it above market value. But the way I see it is the fact that he spent it on a fridge is kind of irrelevant here. That's just what they decided to do with the money. But I personally probably wouldn't even have dealt with that, and I would have just gotten him to move his shed. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. And also subscribe to the channel for more. So I'm out of here. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you all next time.